Well, my girls are constantly getting offers to post something for a company or a brand on social media, so they have a fee for a post or a fee for a story.
If you had told anyone back in 2007 that a family from Calabasas, California was about to take over the entire world, they probably would have laughed. But here we are in 2026, and the Kardashian-Jenner family is more powerful than ever. Kris Jenner has 6 children, who each run their own corner of the entertainment and business world, and she now has 12 grandchildren who are already growing up fast. Let's get into all of it. The woman behind everything. There is really no way to talk about this family without starting with Kris Jenner, because she is the reason any of this exists. Every business deal, television appearance, and brand launch that has ever carried a Kardashian or Jenner name has had Kris somewhere in the background, pulling the strings. And this role she is playing, she's been doing it for decades. Kris Mary Jenner was born on November 5, 1955, in San Diego, California. She got married young, raised a family in the public eye, and somewhere along the way figured out that fame was not just something that happened to people. It was something you could engineer. And so she did. In 2026, Kris turned 71 years old, and the birthday celebration that followed was exactly the kind of event you would expect from a woman of her stature. The entire family came together for it, which is notable because getting everyone in one room is no small feat when your children include some of the busiest people on the planet. Even Rob Kardashian, who has largely kept himself out of the public eye for years, showed up to celebrate his mother. That alone tells you a lot about what Kris means to the people closest to her. Her nickname is Momager, which started out as a tabloid joke, but became the most accurate 2-word description of what she actually does for a living. She manages almost all of her children's business dealings. She negotiates deals, she approves partnerships, and she has somehow managed to keep this family relevant for nearly 2 decades in an industry that chews people up and spits them out at a terrifying speed. At 71, there are no signs of her stepping back. The empire she built just keeps getting bigger, and the best way to see exactly how big it has gotten is to go through each of her children, one by one. Kourtney. Kourtney Kardashian Barker is Kris's eldest, and she has spent the last few years making a very deliberate decision to step back from the kind of constant visibility that made her famous. She was on Keeping Up with the Kardashians from the very first episode, but Kourtney was always the one who seemed the least comfortable with how much of her life was being handed over to the cameras. Now, in 2026, she has finally built the life that actually suits her. Her lifestyle brand, Poosh, is still running and still very much reflects who she is as a person. It covers wellness, clean beauty, mindful eating, and a whole philosophy around living with more intention and less noise. Kourtney does not use Poosh to sell an unattainable fantasy version of life. She uses it to share the things she genuinely cares about, and her audience has stayed loyal because of that authenticity. At home, she has been putting real energy into creating a space that works for her blended family. She has 3 children with her ex, Scott Disick, and she is now married to Travis Barker, who has his own kids, Landon and Alabama. Merging 2 households with that many personalities is not simple, and Kourtney has been open about renovating and redesigning their home to make sure the space genuinely serves everyone in it. And we can't forget about Rocky. On November 1st, 2023, Kourtney and Travis welcomed their first child together, a son they named Rocky 13 Barker. The pregnancy announcement is honestly one of the best celebrity reveals in recent memory. In June 2023, during a Blink-182 concert in Los Angeles, Kourtney walked out and held up a handwritten sign that said, "Travis, I'm pregnant," right there in front of the crowd. It was a direct nod to the music video for the band's song All the Small Things, and the internet completely lost its mind over it. It was personal and creative, and full of their specific kind of humor, which is exactly what people love about Kourtney and Travis as a couple. She is the eldest, and in many ways, she has gone the furthest from the center of the family's public machine. But the sister who came after her went in the complete opposite direction. Kim. People have underestimated Kim Kardashian so many times over the years that it has almost become a running joke. Except the joke stopped being funny when she started building a billion-dollar company. In 2026, Kim remains the most globally recognized person in this family, and she got there through a combination of instinct, relentless work ethic, and an almost uncanny ability to read what people want before they even know they want it. Her shapewear brand, Skims, is the best example of this. When Skims launched, there were plenty of skeptics who assumed it was just another celebrity product that would fade out in a year or two. What happened instead was that Skims expanded into a global brand with a massive customer base, largely because it focused on things that the shapewear industry had been ignoring for a long time, like real comfort, a wide range of sizes, and the kind of everyday wearability that actual people need. Kim was not just lending her face to the product. She was involved in the details, and it showed. Outside of business, she has continued working on criminal justice reform in a way that has genuinely surprised a lot of people. She has advocated for sentencing reform, worked on individual clemency cases, and has been pursuing legal studies alongside all of this. Whatever you thought of Kim Kardashian 10 years ago, this is a real and consistent commitment. And it has definitely changed how people see her. In January 2026, she used Instagram to share tributes around meaningful family milestones, the kind of posts that remind you she is also, above everything else, a mother of 4 children who she clearly adores. She co-parents with Kanye West, which has had its very public complications over the years, but Kim has stayed focused on making sure her kids are grounded and taken care of. Those kids, by the way, have their own section later in this video because they deserve it. Khloe. Something about Khloe Kardashian has always made her the one people root for the most. Maybe it is because she has always been willing to say the things the rest of the family keeps polished and private. Maybe it is because she has been through some genuinely hard public situations and come out the other side without pretending any of it was easy. Whatever the reason, her connection with fans has stayed strong through every chapter of her life. Now, in her early 40s, Khloe launched a podcast called Khloe in Wonderland, which is a very natural extension of who she already is. The show is candid, warm, funny, and honest about the less glamorous parts of navigating life as a public figure. She talks about relationships, personal growth, mental health, and all the complicated things that come with being a mother under a very bright spotlight. She is also still active in fashion and wellness, and her approach has consistently been about balance, rather than the kind of rigid perfection that burns people out. She talks a lot about consistency and self-acceptance, which lands well with an audience that is tired of wellness advice that requires a full-time staff to follow. One moment that got people talking recently was a non-traditional Mother's Day gift she gave that broke completely from what anyone expected. She went for something personal and funny rather than lavish and impressive, and people loved her for it because it felt so true to who she actually is. Her co-parenting relationship with Tristan Thompson has had some very public and very messy chapters, but Khloe has navigated it all with a level of composure that her fans have genuinely admired. She keeps showing up, and she keeps being exactly herself, which is more than most people manage. Rob Kardashian occupies a completely different space within this family than any of his sisters do. He is Kris's only son, and for the last several years, he has lived a life that looks almost nothing like what the rest of the family is doing. Rob opted out of the spotlight, and from everything that has been reported, that decision has been good for him. He has spoken through the family's shows and various interviews about the toll that public life took on him, the mental health struggles, the weight fluctuations that were commented on publicly and mercilessly, and the kind of pressure that comes with being the only man in a household of globally famous women. None of that was easy, and Rob has never pretended otherwise. What he has found instead is a mellow, more stable version of his life, centered almost entirely around his daughter. And he showed up for his mother's 70th birthday celebration, which for someone who avoids cameras and public events as deliberately as Rob does, was a meaningful and noticed gesture. Kendall and Kylie. Kendall Jenner and Kylie Jenner both grew up in front of the same cameras on the same television show, and they both launched themselves into the world at very young ages. But the paths they chose from there look almost nothing alike. Kendall went into modeling, and she went in with the intention of being taken seriously. That is not a given when you come from a reality television background, because the fashion industry is not known for being generous to celebrities who try to cross over. Kendall put in the work, and in 2026, she is a consistent presence on major international runways and has fronted high-profile campaigns for major luxury brands. Her career stands completely on its own, separate from the family name in a way that took real effort to achieve. Her personal life is significantly calmer than most of her siblings. As of early 2026, Kendall is single and does not have children, something she has addressed openly and thoughtfully in interviews and podcast appearances. She talks about it in terms of personal timing and independence, about wanting to be fully herself before adding another person into the equation. What caught fans a little off guard recently was when she opened up about baby name ideas and how her thinking around motherhood has actually evolved as she has gotten older. It was a more introspective side of Kendall than people are used to seeing, and it was genuinely interesting. Kylie, meanwhile, has never been accused of keeping a low profile, and that approach has worked spectacularly for her. She built Kylie Cosmetics into a global beauty brand using her social media following, direct fan engagement, and a talent for viral product launches that most marketing teams would struggle to replicate. She figured out things about direct-to-consumer marketing at a very young age that established companies are still trying to learn. In 2026, Kylie is still extremely active online and has been sharing updates about the construction of her new estate, giving followers a look at the design process and the lifestyle she is building for her family. On the personal side, her relationship with actor Timothée Chalamet has been one of the most talked-about celebrity pairings going. What started as tabloid speculation has clearly become something much more serious, and the family has embraced it. Kris Jenner has been warm and publicly engaging with Chalamet's family on social media following his awards season wins, and that kind of gesture from Kris is never accidental. Now, 6 children is already a lot to keep up with, but Kris also has 12 grandchildren, and some of them are growing up fast enough that you might not recognize them anymore. The older grandchildren. Mason Disick is the oldest of all 12 grandchildren, and longtime viewers of Keeping Up with the Kardashians will remember his birth being filmed during Season 4 back in 2009. He was the first grandchild, the one who started this whole next generation of the family, and fans feel like they have been watching him grow up in real time. Last December, Mason celebrated his bar mitzvah, and his parents, Courtney and Scott, made the decision to keep the event private. Penelope Scotland Disick, born on July 8, 2012, is now 13 and is known for having a strong and distinctive sense of style. Her parents share select photos on social media, and even in those carefully chosen moments, you can see that Penelope has a genuine creative eye and a confidence about how she puts herself together that a lot of adults would envy. Northwest, Kim's oldest child with Kanye West, was born on June 15, 2013, and she might be the most talked-about grandchild in the whole family right now. Growing up between two parents who live and breathe fashion, art, and music, North has absorbed all of it and developed a personality that is bold and completely her own. At just 6 years old, she performed on stage at her father's Yeezy Season 8 fashion show in 2020. And Kim revealed that by age 9, North had gotten deeply into special effects makeup, spending her free time creating elaborate visual transformations. She is clearly not just interested in being seen, but also creating things, and that says a lot about where she might be headed. Saint West, born on December 5, 2015, pulls in a completely different direction from his older sister. Saint loves sports. Last December, Kim celebrated his birthday with a trip to a Los Angeles Rams game, and the day got even better when he got to meet his favorite player, Jalen Ramsey. Then in March, Kim took him on a European trip built around his love of soccer. He attended a Paris Saint-Germain versus Rennes match in Paris and an Arsenal versus Sporting Lisbon match in London. Kim has been very intentional about nurturing his passions, and he is clearly thriving because of it. The younger grandchildren. Rain Aston Disick was born on December 14, 2014, and has been the most fearless of the Disick kids since he was old enough to make his own choices. He earned the nickname the Renegade early on, and his hair has become something of a fan-followed journey. Buzz cuts, mohawks, longer styles, and more recently a bleach blonde look that got people talking. Rain is 11 now and already seems entirely unbothered by what anyone thinks, which is a genuinely rare quality at that age. Dream Kardashian, born on November 10, 2016, is Rob's only child and, by all accounts, the best thing that has happened to him. She graduated from kindergarten recently, and the family celebrated it with real warmth and pride. Despite her last name, Rob has worked hard to give Dream as normal a childhood as possible, and she is also a sister to King Cairo, Blac Chyna's son from her previous relationship with Tyga, a bond both families actively support. Chicago West, born on January 15, 2018, via surrogate, is often described as the gentlest of the West kids. She loves playing dress-up with North, usually following her older sister's creative lead, and her bond with younger brother Sam is one of the sweetest things about this family's social media presence. The two are constantly photographed side by side in a way that makes it obvious they genuinely enjoy each other's company. Stormi Webster, born on February 1, 2018, is Kylie and Travis Scott's first child and is widely known as a true mama's girl. Their matching outfit moments have become something fans genuinely look forward to, and Stormi now has a younger brother, Aire, to grow up alongside her. True Thompson arrived on April 12, 2018, and Khloe has spoken about her in a way that makes it clear True fundamentally changed her. On multiple birthday tributes, Khloe has written about how overwhelming it is to watch her daughter grow and how True has taught her things about herself that nothing else could have. Those posts always resonate because they feel completely real. Sam West, born on May 9, 2019, via surrogate, is 5 now and frequently described as the calm, gentle one of the West kids. Chicago is often photographed doting on him in a very natural, protective way, and Kim tends to keep his social media presence warm and low-key rather than performative. Tatum Robert Thompson arrived in July 2022 as Khloe and Tristan's second child, born via surrogate. Khloe spoke candidly on the Kardashians about how bonding with Tatum felt disorienting at first, explaining that the absence of pregnancy made the connection feel strange and hard to place. That level of honesty hit differently because nobody had really said it out loud like that before. Today, his big sister True has taken to him with a tenderness that has been lovely to watch. And finally, Aire Webster, born on February 2, 2022, as Kylie's second child with Travis Scott. Kylie kept his face hidden for nearly a full year, which was striking even for a family used to dramatic reveals. He was first introduced as Wolf, but Kylie later shared that the name did not feel right, and in January 2023, she announced on Instagram that his name was Aire. So, this is Kris Jenner's huge family today, and we would like to know, which of her 6 children do you think has actually built the most impressive life for themselves? And out of all 12 grandchildren, which one do you think will be the biggest name in the world 10 years from now? Leave your answers in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoy this video, please click on the next one on your screen.